Tansei, Tatawa, hello, and welcome back. I'm Sipaku Waskatawi Win Blue Lightning, and I am here this evening to talk about my Cree Heritage, spiritual beliefs, cosmic views, some of our ways of life, some of the legends, and the Neo-Waknyoin points of view, and this would be part 9 for the series. So this one's gonna be a special one though, because I was doing a stream recently, and I've had a few commenters throw out some suggestions for some of the topics I shall be discussing in this video. So we created a good little list here. So to begin with, off the top, extraterrestrials. Extraterrestrials, I know, have been a big topic lately, and that's fine. I don't mind talking about this. So where to begin here? I'll just start off with, again, extraterrestrials were there at the time of the great spirits creating all the spirits across the realms, like the stars, and the great spirit was when it created our spirit forms, it also created them. So we consider them to be, on a spiritual level, our cosmic family, are related to us on that same spiritual framework. So we naturally connect with these beings, and they are part of us as just as much as we are part of them within this universe. They exist both on higher dimensional levels and like on ultra higher dimensional frequencies. So ultra terrestrials, they can visit most of the time. They are always around us. They have connections to us. They can sense us. They can feel us. That's a given, because we're making those connections with them. It's when people cut themselves off from that, right? That's when it gets a little clouded or tricky, or disconnected in that sense. But so these extraterrestrials, ultra terrestrials that are within our universe, the ones that are on a higher dimensional frequency level, they can visit here, but it just takes a lot more energy for them to, because of our frequency that we've anchored in over these last couple thousand years. Like, we've been really diluting the whole energy, the whole atmosphere of I should say, the connection of our spiritual will, and it's been twisted and changed unknowingly. Some people just grow up into it and they don't even know, right? They don't know there's a difference. And a lot of times, the extraterrestrials that come down, like I said, they're out here. They bring forward their energy to help us reconnect with ourselves, reconnect within ourselves, because we need to remember who we were, what we are, what we came from, the stars, and our abilities with our intuition, and our spiritual divinity, within the universe and the cosmos. So that's what they come out here for most of the time. Other times that I've experienced, they've been here for actual bringing of healing energy. Like, they've been here to bring forward their almost like it's like almost a spiritual, energetic healing force that helps people excel their healing rates, or connects with them on our spiritual plane, where it helps them bring forward that energy from the earth and from the stars, and stuff. And on that level, right, it's like it breaks down into that category of spirituality when it comes through that way. A lot of times too, they bring forward messages of self understanding and learning. So like, when you progress in what you're doing, and they notice that you're a great, say if you're a great mathematician, they'll help you do those things. That if they know you're a great painter, or they know you're working with machinery and things like that, they'll help you push you forward. Like, they'll build you in energy. They'll bring forward an energy, or bless you with an energy that helps like make you better at it, in a sense. So the Star Nations, it's almost like they want to help you excel, so you can be a better for humanity. You get what I'm saying? Like it's almost like they want to help everyone, so because like creating better individuals creates a better society in their framework, right? And it's our own self-development which is creating a better society, which is what they want, right? They don't want to just be like, you got to do this and force people to do it. They're looking at what you do and trying to help you do it better, if it on a grand cosmic scale, what you're meant to be here for, what you're doing in this life universe. It's not gonna make you the ultimate ladies man. It's not gonna do that. The extraterrestrials that I've experienced on an astral level have been very, very unique in their own capacities, in their own frequencies. I found some, there's like on the spiritual plane that were like they were lost here. They crashed their ships here. There was one ship that crashed in like Africa a few years ago. And I remember just kind of encountering this spiritual being on the astral plane, and he showed me his ship, where it was and stuff. But at first, like when I first encountered him, I was face to face, like in the spiritual world, and I was like emitting this like light to show that I'm like from the higher frequencies, and then it did the same thing, like it did a light, like to resemble, kind of like let me know. So I walked up, and as I was like approaching, it did a mind like it made like a meeting room, like in a vision, but it looked like a human, but it still had the same color, like skin, but it looked like a human. He was dressed like what I thought was like formal wear, and I was like, okay. He's like, don't be afraid. I made this image up out of your memory so that you'd be all right with seeing me and discussing with me and feel more comfortable this way. I felt that's what he said, and I was like, okay, like and I was like, I've encountered other extraterrestrials. Like I'm not it's not too far off from me. He's like, I do this with every other species that I've encountered, and I was like, okay, and he just mentioned to me that he was lost and he didn't know where he was. So I said, oh, you're here on Earth in the solar system, and you're near your third planet away from the sun, kind of deal, trying to help him out, right? And I told him like that's Africa where your ship crashed, and yeah, he was like, it was like some deserty terrain. It was like just crashed and anyway, it was long story short, it was just like that was just like it was just a simple encounter, and after I pretty much had a few words, he just went on his own way. I didn't ever see him again ever after that, in fact. One thing I take away from that though is that it was able to create a room, like a vision, like, so I was in an astral world, like astral spiritual realm, but then it created a vision within an astral world, like, you know what I'm saying? And in that vision he was able to make his own image up so that I'd be able to, and it was able to like speak, I would understand, and that was another thing about it, like through psychic abilities. It didn't move its mouth, it just spoke like like psychic abilities, like it just had an image that was I guess relatable to humans. I would be all right, it wouldn't freak me out or whatever, right? Anyway, it was that was one time. And another one on a dimensional frequency level was I was meditating with the sun, the frequency of the sun, like just up in, like, because you see yourself in third person and you start to go into the stars, and I just feeling the heat of the sun, that energy, just allowing it in. And as I was taking it in, I felt this calling, like from the universe, the stars, and I was like, okay, well, where's this energy going to take me? I'm just going to allow the universe to take me wherever it needs me to go. So it starts to drift me along, and I end up on this planet. It was planet Jupiter, but at the time I didn't know it was planet Jupiter. Like I was like, oh, is this Mars? Is this some sort of dust storm on Mars? What is this? And I was like, I seen some brown dust, so I figured it was Mars. Anyway, I I was like, okay, so I'm like, where is this? What is this? Like, this is an intensive energy, and here was Jupiter, and I started getting this like pull back, not far from Jupiter, and I'm not sure where, but it started pulling me around Jupiter, and all of a sudden I was like outside this building, like this big it was like these rocks. It was like it was like giant karsts, like giant rock karsts of like reddish, brownish, like material, like. And I remember just seeing this like structure, like a giant, like looked like a station. I was like, okay. And all of a sudden I heard, "What are you doing here?" Like, I'm like, "Oh, what the hell's like? What's that?" So I look down and I see this like little like slug-looking dude, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Like, I'm just here. Like, I guess I'm here." And he was like, "Well, if you weren't meant to be here, you wouldn't be here at all. There's nothing on your guys' dimensional plane that can even make it here. Like, if you guys tried with your ships, you'd be broken into pieces. There'd be nothing left of you." Like, kind of deal. He was like talking as if like the defenses of that place were built so that our frequency wouldn't be able to get into it. You get what I'm saying? I was like, okay. And he's like, "Well, follow me. You want to come inside?" And I was like, sure. You know, like, I would like to, you know. And then we're getting up to it, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll come back another time. Like, I'm not too sure about this. I said, you know, maybe I'll come back later. Then he's like, "Well, you can come back whenever. You know, like you made it here. You can come back whenever." And I was like, okay. And I remember looking at the little slug guy. He was like green, and he had these like little red robes on, and the little embroidery on his like the design, like the fabric design all along his like around his collars and around his wrist collars and stuff like that were all like it was like gold, but it wasn't like, it was like almost like very shimmering. Like it was like, it was there, the pattern was there, but as I would see it, it would be like a shimmering effect that just like it would trail and go up and down as it, you know, it wasn't like you'd see it all the time. It would be like it would shine and you'd see it, you know, like it's kind of nice. So then I didn't, you know, I came back here, and that was something I noticed out there around Jupiter. There's like a secret alien base out there that's on a good frequency, like one of our like Galactic Federation of light frequency worlds that are out there watching over us. All right, we'll talk more about the extraterrestrials in a bit, and more about astral travels in a bit. Moving on to our second topic, because we've got a few topics here to talk about. Bigfoot. All right, Mr. Hainapuyo. Big man, as my people would refer to him as, you know, and what we call him. The Bigfoots are a guardian of the forest. They are up there with other animal guardians and animal beings that have long protected this planet and have existed here. We consider them to be one of the ancients, along with us, that were there after the Great Spirit had placed a lot of the beings here on this earth, like when we were designed here. So Bigfoot was a very highly dimensional frequency being, and also they do exist on our plane, but they more or less they exist in the higher frequency areas. And when you're there, you can feel it, you can sense it. There's a, you know, it's almost like you're so far in the wilderness that there's no other, there's no modern world around, and the elders in my community say to leave them alone, not to bother them. They're there to exist. We have our own lives and our own paths in the world. Like, we're not there to disrupt or hinder their world. You get what I'm saying? They have their connections with the natural world that have natural balances for our cosmic reality. A lot of the elders say that they get picked up by these orbs that fly around in the sky during times of the full moon. You can actually, in the mountains, they said that they would get picked up, and you just see these orbs fly up from the tree, like from the tree tops, and take off to the stars, and those were the Bigfoots, going back to the moon world, because some would say a dimensional frequency. They connect with the moon. The ancients used to say there was another world in there. From the tales, from the little peoples and stuff, they said that there was an animal world or some sort of animal kingdom there as well, and different kind of beings that lived there. So back to Bigfoot though. Bigfoot was a healer as well, and like they had their own song, like music and songs, and oftentimes when natives when we'd have our ceremonies, they would join us, like, and you'd hear them hollering or singing, and like from distance away from a powwow, or they'd be there too, because they knew that we were connecting with that natural world too, right? So they bring their energies around. And speaking of this connection with the natural world, when I was on doing my vision quest, my spiritual quest, we were going through the ceremony part, and the sweat lodge ceremony, getting ready for it, preparing for it. And one of the rounds, when it was over, we were exiting out of the sweat lodge, and we heard 4 distinct knocks, like just trees just breaking, like just one after another, like that. And there was never a bear to ever do that. There was never a moose or a deer to ever do those kind of knocks like that. Sure, they do make knocks, and deers do scream, and moose do have their their ruckus in the trees and stuff, but nothing that distinct and like that. And everybody that was there was there at that place in the wilderness, and nobody else would have been around, because it was a family land type of deal, ceremony. And my uncle said, he's like, yeah, those are the Bigfoots. They're coming here to guard the frequency, the dimensional levels of the land here while you guys are out on your quests, so no bad spirits will come and take your souls. And I was like, okay, so he's gonna protect us. And he said, yeah, they're gonna sit in the tree line and watch over you guys out there, so no bad spirits try to come and take your guys' souls when you guys are out there. And I was like, okay, because like when you're out on those quests, it's very very it's very different than what people think they are. So the Bigfoots came to us to watch over me when I was out on that journey. And I gave offerings for them, and was very thankful. To this day, I'm still very thankful to them. And like I said, I always spread the teaching now that they are guardians, and that truth to that, right, to the forest and their connections to the cosmos, and that they are here with us too. That they were created just like us and the star beings, and they were placed here, but they have their role in the natural world just as we do too. But we've seemed to lost that way. Okay, moving on to dragons. This is brought up too. I remember I was saying dragons, and when I said there's a lot of people who believe that they're evil, and a lot of ancient tales of like heroes defeating them, and I just wanted to say, like, you know, even now, like today, you could see some of the Komodo dragons, and people fear those things too, right? So there's a lot of fear to them. But native world never seen it as an evil thing. We never seen it as a negative thing either. We deem them not gods, not like what people think, like they're gods out there, but they are definitely just like the Bigfoot guardians on a frequency dimensional level. The teaching was for us that because we have a lot of different, we have stones we call dragon stones, and down south where if you pour water on these stones, these red stones, you could see like the crystal like lights up from the sun, like it looks like shimmering, like it looks like a dragon scale. And we the teaching was that in the ancient world, when the world was being formed, Great Spirit was asking a lot of the animal spirits, like who wants to be a part of this, like blessing of life, and wants to give a piece of them up. And it was said that a dragon was the one who was like, sure, I will give myself a piece of myself for the creation of this world. And it created those firestones and the crystals of the earth, and the crystal structures that create the energy, the magic of this world. And that's what we were taught, what I was taught about dragon spirits and their connection to us and their guardians and watching over us like crystals do, right? And people say, oh, crystals are watching over you and protecting you. There you go, dragons are watching over you. Part of the dragon spirits watching over you, I should say. Another thing about dragons, we have one in our area, an ancient one, and it's referred to as Mishu Pichu, and that's the lake dragon, the water dragon, or people want to call it the water dog or water cougar. You know, there's a few names out there, because this dragon was it was a very large beast that would swim in the lake near my area. And the legends were that Mishu Pichu would, if there was like, say people, like there was a tribe along the lake that didn't give it offerings or pray to it, or not pray to it, but like say like acknowledge it in prayers and say thank you for watching over the land type of deal, and you know, you'd be thankful to it. You know, if they showed it disrespect, like kind of deal, and they didn't care or whatever, then it would sink their boats, or people would go missing in the water. So, and people considered that to be like a bad luck thing. So a lot of times in the ancient world, people said that these beasts, when they were shown disrespect or they weren't being acknowledged, that they would sink a ship. So like there would be like 20 hunters in a boat, like, you know, traveling to the next tribe across the land, because out here in the north we didn't really travel like across the land. Like we took boats and a lot of creeks like that we rode up and down with canoes, and we just hollowed out giant spruce trees. Like we just burnt them out and made boats out of them. Like, and it'd be like 30 people, 20 people on a boat, and they'd be out on a lake, and this beast would just swim circles around and create a giant vortex and just sink ships, these log ships, into the water, and 20 warriors, 30 warriors are just gone, just, you know. And people still go missing in this lake, like even to this day, like still people go missing there. And I've as of recently, I've never personally seen the creature, but my grandfather has, my mother's dad, and my uncle Russell, seen it. And my Uncle Russell told me the story, and he said he was like about 18, 17 years old, and him and his father, my grandfather, were out in the back of the hayfields riding on horses, and they were coming back from the hayfields. They needed to go check on the lands. They were also hunting and trapping out there, and they stopped by there's this a cut line that opened up to the lake. So they stopped in this little area, and they were looking at the lake, and it just real fast just like just water just splash, like real like just in the distance, but just like real, like there was nothing that would have made that, no bomb, nothing like that would have made that type of like explode, like like water just to erupt like that. And it just scared the two horses like that they were walking with, because they were standing at the water edge looking at the water at this point, looking for ducks and trying to see if there's anything they could hunt there. Anyway, the horses took off. They went running back home. So they only ended up getting home later that night at like 11 or like late in the evening, because they had to walk all the way back home. And this is like, horse times. And he was so freaked out. My uncle said the old man was so freaked out. He said that they had to go pray there the next day to acknowledge it, and so that nothing bad would happen in the community, that nothing bad would happen to the people living around the lake, and you had to honor that and pray. And he said, who would have to do that next would be the person to see that again, or to see that beast would have to do that next. Would have to honor that water dragon that way, and in order to create good luck for the land and people all around. Because that's the opposite effect. Like when you do honor it and you do acknowledge its guardianship and work and effort and connection to the land and water, it brings good fortunes, And a little bit more about the Machu Picchu. My people said that it connects rivers underneath the ground, and like it can swim across Canada and into the ocean. It can go deep into the inner earth. It has tunnels that go in inner earth. And this Machu Picchu dragon has been documented across the lands from my area, like out in Brook Creek, like near Jasper. And there's a few like places like hieroglyphs and of the Machu Picchu water dragon that date back like 8,000 years. And then also in eastern Canada, there's a lot of Machu Picchu tales and inscriptions, and they talk about how a lot of times the Thunderbird would well, there's an ancient tale. I'll get to that in a bit. So another thing about Machu Picchu is that they were very tall. Like when they had babies, the babies started off like serpents in the water, like snakes. Like they just swim around and hunt fish like that. And then once they started getting older, they started like developing these like legs, and they are able to go out and hunt on land. Like, and you can just imagine this huge like water dragon just on the land, just ripping buffaloes apart, just and that's what people were saying. Like they would just eat a whole buffalo and just run to the herds and just this is like the water dragon just eating buffaloes at will, and feeding its young like that too. And there's a lot of stories about like how. So this is where in eastern Canada in ancient times there'd be a few there was a few chiefs. Like there was a chief who was swallowed by one, and before he was swallowed, he prayed to the eagle, the Thunderbird, to avenge him, because he knew he was going to be killed, right? And he had a deep connection with the Thunderbird. So the Thunderbird came down and just ripped that water dragon out of the water, and then ripped it apart on a mountaintop, just fucking with its talons, and just ripped it apart, and because when it came, it just as it flies, it just creates like this lightning and rain, right? Just fly with every spread of its wings, and it just picked up that water dragon. So there's sometimes people have had bad experiences with it, and others like have good tales to tell. So that's some of the dragons there. Moving on forward, people were talking about when I talk about the dragons, they'd say, "Oh, okay, so you talk like about the guardians, like, so how does it all work?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, see, Native people, our Neo and Newalk, our beliefs, we don't ever see ourselves like like on the same level of the Great Spirit. Like we consider the Great Spirit so advanced and at a higher frequency that like none of us could ever like how should I say, like you're not gonna just be like hearing direct communication from the Great Spirit. Get what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be like um, your development and your experience in life and how you hold yourself is that acknowledgement to universe and that honor that you hold with life, right? And the Great Spirit is that's a way of acknowledgement, right? And gratefulness and gratitude and love for the universe. And I should say, with the levels of the spirituality, though. So we hold the Great Spirit very high. Then after that would come like the elementals, uh, like that'd be like your, like the electricity, like the I should say the thunder god tribes and the different because there's a different colors of frequency for each lightning and thunder, different tribes, and not only that, but you have all the fire, the wind spirits, the water spirits, the earth spirits, and all those elementals, like I say, play a big part for our existence and throughout the universe. And so like that's why we always say it's like the Great Spirit and the elementals. Then after that comes like the guardians. That'd be like your dragons and all the ancient animal beings that guarded the earth and in our universe, the ancestors. And then after that, the star beings and the ultra terrestrials, and then us are along with that too, you know. And also, when I say the guardian animal guardians and stuff, that is also the tree spirits and like all the elemental, like the grass spirits, the roots, the, you know, not only the trees, like talking about the grandfather rocks and all that stuff too as well, because like the rock and the mountain, the oldest grandfathers of our time, you know, they've been here since the beginning of the time. So spirit levels, we always considered ourselves more closer to, you know, like I said, the animal spirits and the guardians and the elementals before we ever even like try to like say that we're on the same level of the Great Spirit. We always just acknowledge and say we're grateful for the gift of life and grateful to be alive, and we're never sad about when it ends, but we're always happy and grateful that it exists and that it is, and to be joyous in every moment is truly a blessing, and to hold that honor with that. So astral travels, so astral traveling, once I realized I could do such a thing in my spirit journeys and spirit quest, I knew that I was able to you know, find this inner connection that was like revealing these visualizations and visualizing these dimensional frequencies and these levels of peace and divine spirituality. So I would start off like when I was, you know, I was just doing meditations, and at first I didn't like. I just thought I was like, okay, I'm going in deep within myself, and I'm finding this beautiful scenery of forests and mountains and water, and I just found peace in that at first. And then I realized I was like, wait, I can do things around here. I don't have to just meditate. Like while I'm meditating on here, I don't have to meditate in here. I'm just sitting. I can do things around here. So I started like building like a little nice little area to sit in. You know, I built this like little like structure, and like a little wooden structure, and then I planted some flowers and different kind of like trees and things, and I had a little garden, you know, in this world, and I would just visit it whenever I meditated, and as I did, this garden grew, and I was just looking at the waterfall and the mountains and just kind of finding the peace there. And little did I know, I was like, this is like an astral world I'm in, and I'm here, I'm just like, you know, I'm existing in this peace. And days, a few years go by, and I'm doing this constantly, right? And I started I started to get more into started to think more about the connection to the stars, and I started to hear more about star ceremonies, and how these orbs would fly over and bless us with these visions of the galaxy, and I started to find interest in that, and so I started doing more work into spiritual Star Nation knowledge, and I started making more contacts with mediums and psychics in the area. They were finding their way into my life through the universe connections, and they were there to talk to me about spirituality and astral travels, and kind of say hey, you should check it out, you should try that, you should do this, you should find more attunement in your life. And I was like, okay, all right. And I started to do my own travels around. I started to I did that the one where I went up and I seen the Jupiter base and stuff, and I did a few other ones around the, I should say, around the galaxy. And I finally I came across I should say it was a Pleiadian Andromedan ship, quite nice ship in the galaxy, and they brought me aboard, and they were very kind to me. They were very, very calm, and they had such a spiritual understanding and presence to them that I knew I could trust. And they started to first they said I needed to visit their galactic library, and I was like, okay, so let me check it out. I'll check it out. Library, sure. I'll go to this library. I ended up going with them to this library, and the escort there, the little Andromedan alien, he looked like a little blue guy with blue, navy blue eyes, and he ended up bringing me to this library, and it was we went down on a lift, and there was 2 levels. We started off on the top level, and I could see down, there was people and desks, and Pleiadians were different kind of humans, we're just sitting around, and they're all looking at these almost like square metal flat, almost like little flat plates, and square rectangular plates. And I was like, okay. And I didn't understand it at first, right? And people are walking down below. I seen all these carts, hollow, they're hovering little trolleys, I should say. All these little tablets on them and things, and people walking back and forth. And I go down the elevator with the guy, the alien, the extraterrestrial, the little little blue alien, and he says, you could sit down here at this table. I'll be back with some information for you. I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm sitting there, and then he's like, I need you to come over here. I was like, okay. So I went over there to the back shelves, and he's like, pick out one of these books. What calls you? And I'm like, grab this book. And, well, it wasn't a book. It was a data, like a tablet, a metal tablet. It just looked like books, right? In my mind, that's how it was. So I picked out this book. This tablet, and I handed it to him. And he's like, oh wow, I haven't seen anybody pick out any of those in a long time. And I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think much of it, and sat down, and he came back eventually. He had all these other pick outs that he did, and he put the one that I picked out down first on this table I was sitting at. And I remember looking at this like metal, like it was a square rectangular metal piece, and there was all this like strange writing on it, and I'm looking at it, and I just felt this like energetic waves like connecting, and like it just like all of a sudden I see these like rings of like light, like that were just like coming, like the way I can explain it, and it's gonna sound funny to you, but it was like kind of like how a slinky looks like stretched out, but it was like as the rings, they would like grow bigger and like go around me, and it just kept like this light, these little light rings are just like flying into me, and I was like, okay. And he's like, just relax and take in these codes, these light codes, and I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this like blue terminal, like it's like or sorry, it's like a metal terminal. It's like a round oval, like it's like up, like protruding out of the metal floor, and like at the top of it's this like circular blue pool, but out of this pool is like this like data codes that are like flying up to the roof, and they look like strange like little squares and designs that like alien writing. And I'm like, what is that? And then he's like, that's the codes of the universe. Like that's like all of the data research that we've ever encountered. That's like what we're even picking up here now in this solar system. And I'm like okay, like this is all right, this is cool. And then you know, he's like, just like place another tablet down. As like those rings, like the trail of rings would go like fade away, I just put down another one, and another like set of rings would keep coming through, right? And eventually, like after about like 8 books or 8 tablets, I sat there and I was like, okay. And they're like, okay, we think you're ready for this now. So I was like, what are we ready for? And they're like, well, we're gonna show you the crystal room. And I was like, okay, there's a crystal room. So I walk into this room, and there's all these like in the middle there's this giant white crystal, and then all around us, like they're like in the 4 directions, there's all these different crystals, and they all had colors to them. And they're like, this is the crystal healing room. This is gonna like you gotta meditate here. And usually when we have our ceremonies here, all these crystals light up, and it clears the energy and helps you with the universe. And I'm like, okay. And this is gonna help with your healing and your energy, healing energy that you naturally have in you. And I was like, okay. And so I'm sitting there, and you know, I'm meditating in this crystal room, and this energy starts to like light up within these crystals. Like I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing them grow, like the middle crystal glowing pinks, and then sometimes it would go straight light green, and like sometimes it would like it was just changing all these chakra colors, right? And I was like, whoa. And eventually I was like, they're like, okay, like, you know, we've upgraded your connections with the energies, and we want you to try, like, come check it out, right? And I was like, sure. So they brought me to a healing part of their medical vessel, and there's like all these like different beings that were all in these like the like, it was like just like medical beds. And I was like, okay, so what's wrong? Like, I see all this like advanced technology, like how come you can't heal him with this? Like, why do you need me? Like, what do I have to do with this? And they're like, well, you have a very similar healing, like humans have a very similar healing energy, like a higher frequency that is capable of like achieving like higher mastery, and it can be it's attained naturally through your life. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, we want you to use your healing abilities to spiritually heal this like this alien, this being, and heal its spiritual form, because our technology can't heal it with its form. It's like its spirit form was damaged from a very dark spirit. And I was like, okay. So I started to heal that being with the damaged spirit. And once that part was healed, I could just see this, like where it was burned and it wasn't healing. That technology just started to like that technology bed started to like heal that creature real fast. And I was like, well, okay, I get it. And they're like, see, they're like, sure, technology is really advanced, but sometimes it takes to heal the spirit body before the actual physical body will heal, because sometimes these dark spirits will try to rip parts out to so people will die or things will die. And I'm like, okay, and it's trying to give me this message, right? And I'm like, okay, I get what you mean. And that's what it was just trying to like, you know. And from there it was like I was like, okay, well, I think like I get it now. And they're like, okay, well, you can come back whenever you want. The ship is, you know, you just reconnect with your energy here at the crystal center. And I was like, okay. And that was like an astral travel journey that I had with the Pleiadian Andromedans and their different type of aliens. And oh, they did mention like they had like Ship City. So I was like, yeah, let's go check it out. This was another time too. So like I did go back later in time. I did go back and check them out, and because they mentioned they had a city they wanted to show me. And I was like, okay. So I expected to go to a world, right? Like I was thinking like a home. I'm going to the home world, you know. I'm going to like you know, like Alcyone, or you know, I'm going to one of those like one of the stars out there, right? And all of a sudden it wasn't what I was expecting. Here it was a giant ship, like a giant huge like station. And once we flew in there, there was like a giant city. And in the middle of this ship was like this, like almost like an hourglass like effect. Like there was like two ends that met up in the middle, and in between there was like this it was almost like a giant some sort of like gravity core in the middle. The best way I can explain it. And this gravity core controlled all the functions for the different gravity in the ship, because there was like, when I looked down, there's like city, and then when I look up, there's city above us too, because like the ship, you can see through the ship. That's the hardest part to understand, is like you could see through the ship like that we're in, like. And so like I was looking at all these buildings and all these like different kind of like crafts that are flying around, and when we're moving in there, we got on one of the highways and it just went real fast, like. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. Like but like the cars beside us were like, you know, same level as us. Like they were like, not the cars, but like the ships, the crafts are on the same level as us, like in a car freeway, like a highway. But everything around us was like just moving super fast, and we go across the city at like, you know, like high speeds, and then all of a sudden just directly up. And that's what freaked me out, because like I wasn't expecting just like to hit that change of gravity, and all of a sudden just like, and that feeling just kind of like freaked me out. And I was like, whoa, just watching. But like we never moved, because like the ship, like our like the suits and the spirit forms we were in, just like we're connected to the ship, so we weren't throwing around in there or anything. It was just like we're watching like this, like just high speeds, like change of altitude and direction of gravity, and all the shit. And like the way it changed too was like going from this, and then all of a sudden all the buildings are like, you know, same, like it was kind of like awkward, but technically we're heading straight up if we're to consider the way we entered in the right sense of direction. But everything looked like it was upside right. So the place was very interesting and full of different extraterrestrials from all across the galaxy, and I met quite a different set of beings, and saw quite a few different indications of very ancient like culture across the stars, and more towards the center of our cluster of our own Milky Way galaxy. I seen like there was like aliens that were like there, just like they were trying to sell ancient parts for ships that they found. And there was even some aliens that used like frequency, like sounds, like they just use like little sounds like from like a voice box, and were just talking like I don't know, like R2D2 sounds like that, like, but they were like beings that had like they had strange robes. They were kind of taller, and they had these weird kind of like headsets on and things, and also yeah, there was like these cubes that were like leading us around. Like they'd lead us around the city and the stations and stuff. Like, and some of the cubes were just acting like lights to guide people or just to light up the area. Uh, there were restaurants and different type of like I seen different type of like bars and clubs that things were going to, like, and when I'm saying things, like I seen like ships, like crafts that were like designed to carry aquatic spirit beings. Like I just saw like aquatic beings like swimming around and in these like capsules, and then as I was like tripped out, like weirded out by them, and the little alien guy that was with me, he's like, yeah, those are from your Earth. And I was like, no. And it was like, yeah, those are from your Earth too. They just exist in the ocean, like you never see them. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, like, and it was quite a, it was experience in itself on its own, astral traveling. And so like that was like some of my more interesting connections with the extraterrestrials, on our higher frequency, a higher dimensional level, and and that's like some of the journeys like spiritually that I would like I had throughout my life that were quite spiritually awakening for me and developing for me. So I just wanted to share that here with you. I do have a lot more astral travel stories that I will get into at a later date. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. And you know what? We got 10 more minutes before it's an hour long. So we'll save the farewell till then. I'm going to do another astral travel story because like I might as well just share this one in there. So this one's more recently. I had this happen, and I was working with a team, and we did a flight, and we are checking on the Earth's the status of the Earth and seeing what's going on, if there's any distortion, and we're getting a lot of frequency disruption in the lower South America jungles, and we were wondering what was out there, and so we went for a flight out there, and we tethered our astral beings together, and we went out for a flight, and oh, that's right. I gotta tell that first before I tell any of this. Before I get into any of this. Yeah. Okay, maybe. Yeah, we'll start off with this one. Sorry, before we get into the teamwork here. So, another solo mission I did recently. I was feeling this connection. It was like a galactic highway between our solar system and another dimensional frequency. There was this connection felt disrupted and kind of like it felt cold. Like there was like like it felt ominous is the right word I'm looking for. And I was like, okay, let's go to this feeling. Why is our solar system feeling this way? It almost felt like a piercing or something, like a pierced part of our dimensional framework. So I went there, and there was this like it was like a giant wormhole to another dimensional frequency. And at the base of this like good dimensional portal were they were dressed in like very awesome advanced armor, but they were like Chinese soldiers, like from modern era like times, like they were dressed in like very advanced, like they had very awesome masks, and like yeah, they looked just so cool. And they seemed like they were watching, like they're like they were on guard, like they're looking at this, like they're cautious about what was on the other side. That's what I was seeing anyway when I was looking. I didn't get to talk or say anything. I just saw, right, observing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in, and I went in. At somewhere halfway along the tunnel, there was a tear in this wormhole tunnel, and I started to piece it back together with dimensional healing, like dimensional light, and I started like kind of like seeing the stars connections, like reconnecting this like tunnel back together. And as I was doing, I started getting like disruption from that the energy that was clouding it. Like there was this like dark energy that was clouding, that was like giving me like distorted memories. Like they weren't even my memories. They were just like, why would I even think that? Like they're like one of those kind of things, like where you're assuming bad or assuming the worst kind of thing, and it's like, don't think that. Like, why would you think that? Like kind of deal. Like so, I was getting these, like, it was to try to slow me down or stop me from that, right? So I'm like, okay. So I started praying, like, and singing, like, to heal that dimensional frequency, and as I healed it, I was like, okay, I gotta come back. I gotta take a break. So I came back, and I was sitting in this. I was sitting within the frequency, like back, like on the other side of the portal, and I was just sitting there. But then I was taking a break, and I was just like recollecting myself, and I was in this world, physical reality. I was holding a crystal, like, so it would anchor my my vision and keep me stronger, right? So I was just holding it, and I was just like recharging it and getting it ready for the next like process that I was, because I felt there was another thing to repair. So I go back down there and I repair it. But as I'm repairing, I noticed there was like a black cosmic fungus that was like clouding this like pathway. Like it was breaking, like, causing these breaks. So I cleared that fungus out, that black fungus. It was weird because it was like had like shards of metal in it, kind of like how, like, kind of look like, the best way I can describe it is like how if you're a mechanic and you see like a fan belt, and in the fan belt there's like tiny little pieces of metal and rocks that get caught up in there, and it looks like flashing like that. That's how that fungus looked. It just looked like metal, like it looked very odd. And so I ended up clearing that and getting rid of it, and I followed it to the end of the tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel there was this like huge, like sprawling, like galactic space that was just covered in this like layer of like fungus that was just like clouding, like, and it was like ever reaching, like it was like, so like if I was to go, like, it looked small where it was at, but if I was to go closer, I just realized that I was just a speck, like getting close to this mass, right? So I was lucky where I was at to see it that way, far enough away to see it that way, and didn't want to get closer, right? So this cosmic horror was like, blocking whatever it was. It was blocking the energy. What I picked up from the spirit world was like it was blocking whatever energy was coming from that part of the universe that was meant for all of us here. That's why there was a different type of soldiers at the gate. That's why I was seeing like these different memories that were in mine, because it was affecting everyone. So I cleared that out of the way, that cosmic horror, deep space fungus, or whatever you want to call it, and I just replaced it, and I made sure I filled it with frequency light that was this higher vibrational intensity, that no dark energy would ever be able to latch there again, or that fungus would be able to grow there again. It would just like kind of be irritated because it was such a higher frequency. And I felt that was good enough. And I was like, okay, whatever's meant for us now to come through will come through for us. Whether that's the aliens or if that's the universal healing energy, whether that's the frequency levels that's meant for our universe to advance and to evolve. I came back through, and that was October 9th. I did that, and I was feeling pretty good about it the next day. And then October 10th, I was contacted by one of my spiritual buddies, and he said, "You want to come out for a flight with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I will come along." So this catches us back up to where I was like, okay, I got to tell this story first before I go into this. So working with the spiritual team makes it a lot more easier to see things and interpret things, because not only do you have their intel, but you also see your intel, right? And the energies help each other, keep each other safe as well, and we can call if we need help or whatever, right? So, going out there, South America and in jungle, we found a deep underground dwelling on the fourth density level. As the dark entities that were creating a base many years ago, like thousands of years ago. They created this giant cavern. It was like almost like a long straight cavern, like kind of like a not as big as the Grand Canyon, but you get what I mean, like a walled structure that was like probably 20 to 40 feet across. Sorry, 80 feet across, yeah. Like it was like a big giant structure right underground, like cut out, like obviously, and all the staircases that went down or around it were straight cut, like rectangular cut, very advanced for that ancient build is what I'm getting at. Like it was very odd. And when we discovered what we discovered down there was like an ancient construct of a statue that was essentially the way the lady was interpreting it through her sight. She said it was like a printer. So for me, that's like it's teleporting in these beings, these dark beings, like it's imprinting them into our reality, like so this statue that was made, it was like it was a giant, like it was made up. I mentioned these tentacle creatures before, right? These dark dimensional creatures that that just they work a lot with like harnessing dark energy from human beings, and we were told by the galactic light we wouldn't have to worry about them, and we haven't been, but to see a statue or technology of theirs is not surprising, and there was these dark cultists that were using this technology down there, or they found it and they were using it again, and we're like, okay, we need to shut this down now. Meanwhile, my buddy's there fighting these creatures that are coming out of it, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking around for the power source, and down at the bottom, I'm like, okay, there's like all these there's all these pods, there's all these like power cells that are like along these like giant walls that are cut in the ground, like, and I'm like, okay, so like all these pods are like lining, going high up into the, like along the, like the sheer like cutout of this ground, right? And I'm like, okay, what's in these pods? I'm using my sight to see them, and I'm seeing the heartbeat, I'm seeing the mind dreaming, and like these beings that were caught in there were like in a shared constructed dream space, and they were all like sitting in there, and they were still very much alive, but they're like I don't know if it, like, to be honest with you, I don't know if they were shared dream space or if they're just in their own dream space. That's still a part of the speculation, but they were in the pods and they were still alive. And so I was like, okay, I got to get them out. There's not only humans in there, human spirits. There's plant spirits. There's alien spirits. I don't know what these guys are, but they're in there. They're obviously not part of their team, but they're in there. So, and that just happens a lot because there's so much life out in the galaxy and the stars. Like, it's like you see some of these beings, you're like, okay, like you just start to get used to like, okay, the vast uniqueness of the galaxy is quite it varies. It's built in variety, right? And I'm looking at these pods opening, and some of them, like I see thousands of spirit beings like releasing, and we have these portals set up for them to get back to Galactic Federation of Light Worlds. They have stations for them to go to. They have places around different moons, like I mentioned, the stations that I seen was one of them. So these beings are all like going in these portals, and I see some of these pods. They are open, but the beings, they're dead in them, and I'm like, they're using these beings' spirit force to power this statue, this imprinting, like to open up the distortion in this realm. They're using these spirit beings to create a portal for evil to come through. So I'm like, okay, now that we got most of their power cells down, we could probably shut down this terminal, right? So I'm there, I'm checking out this terminal, and it's like it's giving me this, like it's gonna shut down, kind of like it's giving me like a sequence, and I'm like, okay, so it's shutting down, like we can destroy it like once it's shut down. And meanwhile, there's all these cultists that were starting to appear, like they were coming down to fight me, attack me. And my buddy shows up there. He's like, yeah. I've been dealing with these guys. And I'm like, and I saw them lining up. And he's like, yeah, they're making that moon, aren't they? And I was like, yeah, they're making the formation. And then meanwhile, I'm hitting them with electricity and different techniques that I have. And these shadow beings, cultists, are just blowing up like, but they would be replaced as soon as they'd explode. I'm just seeing this in the world, eh? And my buddy, as I'm doing this, he's like, hit the ones in the back. You got to hit the ones in the back because those are the ones that matter the most, and like that's how you're gonna stop them. And I'm like, okay, so like I'm hitting them and destroying these like formations and breaking their strong their connection, right, that they're doing to try to fight us. And meanwhile, I'm like throwing in, warp fields and all these things at them, and the two ladies that were with us are destroying this statue, and the one woman, after she destroyed it, she picked up like kind of like the energy of another one within our solar system. So we're like, okay, now this base is clear, this is done. Like let's leave it for a galactic federation and move on to the next. Like what's next? Like and then she's like, I feel another one, and I'm like, we're like, okay, so where do you feel this? Like, and she's like, I feel like it's like it's calling to me from the dark side of the moon. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go, let's check it out, let's go find this statue that's making these beings here. So we go to the statue on the dark side of the moon, and I haven't been to the dark side of the moon with a group so like me, I'm seeing like all this other stuff. Like I'm like, okay, well, what made this, like these caverns in the ground, and because like they're taking care of the statue, and I'm like, they're more than capable enough and strong enough to take it on without me. Like I need it. There's a reason why I'm here, and I'm seeing something else here. So I see this like ancient technology, and it's not from it's a quartz crystal cannon deflagration laser that was meant for mining deep structures in planets and moons, and I'm like, okay, well, where did this come from? Like, because these beings didn't make this. Like compared to that statue that we just like destroyed, it's nothing like it. What is this? And I'm looking at the crystal cannon, and it has this like giant like gold symbol on it, ancient symbol, and it was a swastika. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, but this isn't from them. Like, this isn't from the Nazis. No, this is from an ancient alien race. Like, what is this? So I'm like feeling the energy of this symbol, and it's like gravitating me to another part of the moon. And I'm like, okay, so I just followed that energy, and I was in this giant crater, and there was like all this purple like rocks, and I'm like, what is this? What are purple rocks? What I realized this is like fuel burnout from an explosion, a crash. I'm like, oh, so that was like they found that technology crashed here on the moon, and they used the cannon off of it. Well, where did the cannon come from then? And I saw in another crater not too far was a giant gold eagle or phoenix, and on the golden eagle phoenix was like swastikas. And I'm like, okay, like what is that? And it was not the Nazis. Like, this is like, I didn't see any or feel any like that up there. What this was, like an ancient alien race. And the message that came to me was that was an ancient race that crashed there on the moon, and they came down to us during our beginning eras of all of our races across the planet, and they shared with us their teachings and their beliefs and their technology, and they shared that symbol with all of our cultures around the world. That symbol, the swastika symbol, and they were spread out amongst our planet. Like they came down from the moon and they spread out amongst us and shared that with all of our cultures. And yeah, so like I after that I was like, whoa, this is interesting stuff, right? So I end up going to see my buddies. They destroyed the statue. I'm like, okay, let's go back to our, you know, our meeting room kind of deal, like our station. And we went back there, and you know, we did the energy cleansing, and I shared with them what I told you guys here, and they're like, whoa, like they didn't really know how to take it in, and like, okay, well that's fine, like, you know, that's okay. Like I'd be honest with you what I saw out there, right? And yeah, and that was like one of the more recent astral travel journeys that we went on. We were stopping these beings from coming through these statues, and like I said, I saw some pretty wild stuff out there on the dark side of the moon. I have a lot more of these astral travel stories, a lot more to talk about from the ancient legends and tales and ways of my people and understanding and cosmic views. And I'll go more into that in the next video, part 10. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. I hope you leave a like and subscribe and for more, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much. Take care. Kananaskatamoin. I'm thankful to you. Till next time.